Hello my friends and welcome back to another Brotato Danger 5 random run, where we take a random character, random weapon, and try to beat Danger 5 with it. Hope you're all doing well. Let's see what the game has for me today. We've got the Bull. Alright, well Bull, of course, is always a very satisfying run. It is, I think, one of the characters that's actually a little more difficult on Crash Zone than on Abyssal Terrors, because the main thing with Abyssal Terrors is that you're operating from lower economy. So that's what makes it difficult, is managing the economic penalties on Abyssal Terrors. The main thing on Crash Zone is just that there's a lot of enemies on the field, and trying not to get overwhelmed is your main goal. The Bull, I think, because it gets so many free stats, doesn't care that much about the lower economy, but does care a lot about how many enemies there are on the field and how easy they are to kill. So I think it's actually a little harder on Crash Zone. I'm going to roll here and we'll pick up some harvesting. I can't take Peaceful Bee, unfortunately, on this character because it will reduce my damage just too much, I think. So I'm going to take the Scar. Boiling Water is okay, but I'd rather buy melee damage than elemental damage because you just buy it at a better ratio. An item like Hedgehog, though, that gives you multiple kinds of damage is really good for this character. Let's lock 2 items and we'll do one more reroll. We don't have any use for engineering, but these are all great items, so let's go ahead and lock some stuff. Getting an early Scar, of course, helps a lot. With the Bull, usually in the early waves, you just run straight at every enemy that you see. In the later waves, we're going to try to stack it so that we kill multiple enemies with a single explosion so that we don't have to take a lot of damage in order to be able to clear a bunch of enemies. Note that we need help killing these trees, so I need an... I should have stepped into that enemy, actually. I messed that up. I need an enemy to kill the tree because we don't have a way to deal damage to ourselves and trigger the explosion, so that cost me quite a bit there. I'll take the luck here, and then we'll pick up more harvesting, and pretty happy with all of these items. Let's go ahead and buy the Whistle. It's an economy item. I'll take the Hedgehog, lock the Duct Tape because I want any armor we can get. Explosion damage, obviously amazing for this character, and Toxic Sludge. Yeah, this is worth taking. Dodge is fine on the Bull. A lot of people try to avoid it really aggressively, but it still is a pretty big multiplier to your survivability because you have so much health and armor and regen, so dodge is good. And it can let you get deeper into groups of enemies before you trigger an explosion without taking damage. So dodge ends up actually being a way to increase your survivability and kill more enemies at once. So you don't have to avoid it. That being said, I'm not that unhappy about reducing it on this character. So unlike for some characters that would care a lot about reducing their dodge, the Bull doesn't really. I'm going to reroll looking for harvesting here. Missed a bunch of times, so I'll just take some damage. And then we will go ahead and buy, let's say, all these items and do a quick reroll. Baby Gecko we don't care about. We're always going to be on top of everything that we kill. But Alien Tongue is pretty nice for this character because we care about consumable healing a lot. That's going to be a big component of our healing. And the Alien Tongue makes it a little easier to deal with that. These ranged enemies are pretty tough because they run away from you. So they can, as you can see there, they can really put on their dancing shoes and stop you from killing them. So you usually want to pull other enemies into them or use their ranged attacks when you're just out of range of them to make sure that you can kill them without having to run around and get extra hits on them. Go ahead and kill that loot alien, which is great. And am I going to be able to kill this tree? Yes. Also, movement speed, of course, helps a lot for that reason as well. I currently have no consumable heal, but the Bull does get increased multipliers to regen, and max HP is pretty good. So I'm going to take the Alien Worm anyways, but I definitely want to fix my consumable heal as soon as we possibly can. Here, I'll just take 10 more luck, I think. I could roll for harvesting. Actually, let's roll for harvesting, because that'll get us to 21. This being a guaranteed level up, though maybe I just take the regen here since I rolled a bunch of times. I think I will. Regen is just so good. Here I will take 5 more harvesting though. Go ahead and buy all of these items and then reroll. And we'll take a helmet. Alien Eyes is a way to kill enemies that aren't directly next to me, so that's actually pretty nice for this character, and we'll be building a lot of HP, of course. Weird Ghost, I'm going to pass on, because it just costs you, even though we have good regen, it costs you too much money to not be able to kill stuff for the first, 15 seconds of a wave while you wait to regenerate. So typically you should avoid Weird Ghost on the bull, since you need to run into enemies in order to kill them. Even though it's a pretty nice item in terms of the stats that it gives you for the character, it will end up costing you a lot of money. One of the few characters where I recommend avoiding that item. Run up here, and kill that tree, get our +2 heal. I need to remember that my consumable heal is bad, and it is very weak to have... It's very poor to have bad consumable heal on this character. Very happy with Plant. We don't care about lifesteal at all. You can't lifesteal on the bull, but you can regenerate, so we want that as much as we can get, and we obviously want 6 regeneration there. That's amazing. I can take 2 flat ranged damage, but again, I'd rather just buy melee damage to increase our damage. But I'm just going to keep taking regen as long as that shows up. We'll take some % damage, and Small Fish is really good for the bull as well. We want to be one-shotting everything to minimize the damage that we take, so I'll go ahead and pick that up, and we'll roll. Gentle Alien, excellent for this character, and Lemonade offsets the penalty we took from Alien Worm, so we're very happy as well. Gentle Alien's great because the more enemies there are on the field, the more we can kill those enemies by exploding them. Alien Eyes is nice because we will have a lot of regen and armor by the time we get to an elite fight, but the amount of damage that we can do to elites is fairly minimal. Alien Eyes is often a good way to add supplemental damage to a build that is somewhat low damage but wants to fight elites. Bull can obviously always just run away from the elites and survive, but Alien Eyes gives us a way to deal a bunch of burst damage based on our HP to them, and makes it a little easier for us to sometimes kill them, which is nice that we have that option. Clearing as many of these enemies as possible. Crit chance is not bad for the bull either. We only crit for 1.5x damage, but you can critically hit with this character's explosions. And the base damage is so high that even 1.5 times is still pretty good. So I'm going to take the crit chance here. Scarf is excellent. We don't care about enemy movement speed at all, and we do care about all of these other stats. In fact, enemy movement speed is good for us because it just means they'll hit us sooner. Take the helmet here, so we're up to 12 armor, and we're up to 50 regeneration, so I'd say we're in pretty good shape already. One downside, I guess, of increasing enemy move speed is the healers are getting away faster, but as long as we can one-shot most of the enemies on the field, we'll be okay. And I think we have the damage to let at least some of these eggs hatch, but not all of them, so I'm going to be a little bit careful about how many eggs I let hatch, because the slashers do very high damage instances, so even though we can get a little more money from killing them, we will take a lot of damage to do so, and you do want to be a little careful about letting that happen. Obviously, the best thing that we could find would be explosion size increases, something like a bloody hand or blood donation to trigger our explosions without having to actually touch an enemy. All of those would be excellent, but I'd say we're in very good shape just given the amount of raw stats that we have right now. I could take % damage, I could take HP, I could roll for harvesting or something. I think let's just take some max HP, and then we'll take 6 melee damage here. I do want armor a lot, but our damage is actually quite low right now for the bull, so 6 melee damage, we get 300% scaling on that, so that takes our explosions from like 50 to 100 right away. Amazing amount of additional damage that we get there. Very happy to grab Baby Squid. This is obviously a stat that we want very badly, and tons of it, and we don't care about losing attack speed at all. I'll take Shady Potion even at the cost of 3 regeneration, and I'll take Lost Duck even at the cost of an elemental damage, because luck is so good for this character that, although it reduces my damage and regen, we want as much luck as we can get. This guy just avoiding me so easily. I'm gonna back up a little bit and take some regeneration, and then we can get to like 50% HP very comfortably, but I don't like to play too much below that, although we have tons of armor and regen, so we can always just back off. It is fairly easy on the bull to just get overconfident and end up putting yourself in a position where you just die in 2 shots, so we want to avoid that. There we go. Got that loot alien kill. Back off. Take another bunch of damage to explode through the middle of these enemies. Wave 8 is always bad for this character because it's all high health, high damage enemies and not that many of them. So you'll always struggle a little on wave 8 with the bull. We'll take some percent damage. We don't care about attack speed at all, so that's awesome. And Ball and Chain is the best item for this character now because, of course, we don't have any weapons to care about the penalty. Yes, losing 3 speed is painful, but 3 armor and 15 damage for no penalty, an amazing find. I'll take 10 luck here, and then I'm going to roll. And then we'll go to the shop. We'll take the lemonade to offset our consumable heal penalty, and then we'll take the charcoal. This, we get the benefit of the elemental and the melee damage, so it's great. I don't really need to spend 90 on 3 regen, I don't think, with the blood leech, and we'd lose consumable healing, so let's roll here. And Pearl is kind of fun. This is 4% damage right now, but it could get better, so I'm going to speculate on the Pearl here. This is definitely a speculative pick, but I think worth grabbing. Wisdom could also potentially help us kill elites, so I'm going to pick up the Wisdom, and Duct Tape, of course, we want, because all the armor we can get is amazing. Bone Dice, I don't think we're going to be re-rolling enough soon to make the Bone Dice valuable, so I'll pass on it. Ooh, Glass Cannon is an interesting one. Losing 3 armor, terrible for this character, obviously. But we do have an armor locked, and 25% damage is a lot, so I think we're going to go with the Glass Cannon. And we'll just try to one-shot elites and bosses with really high damage, rather than try to tank through them. So I think that's just going to be our plan. Now, of course, we could always make that easier if we find something like a Rip and Tear to have our explosions travel across the map, if we find more explosion damage from dynamites, or if we find explosion size increases. And then, of course, the best possible items are Blood Donation and Bloody Hand, because that will trigger the explosions once per second in exchange for only 1 damage, instead of the amount that we take by running into enemies. Jerky would be great as well. Obviously, Fairy would be incredible. There's a lot of items that we can find that will just spike this run into the stratosphere. But even without finding those specifically extremely powerful items, we're still in very good shape. Again, notice that what I'm doing is I'm pulling these enemies in spirals around me to group them up on top of each other, and then we run into them to try to kill a bunch of them with only 1 damage instance. I'll take the scope here. The range damage does scale our explosion damage. Range itself, not useful, but attack speed is no real penalty, so this is just a big boost to our damage. Wow, this 4 armor upgrade is huge. Obviously, we're thrilled to see that. And then I'm just going to take more regeneration. I could take crit chance as well, but going up to, like, I don't know, 100 regeneration seems like it could be extremely valuable for this character. We'll take the Wisdom and the Glass Cannon. Fertilizer, I think I can get away with. It does reduce my damage by quite a bit, so 153 goes down to 149, so we lose 4 damage for picking this up, but it will be a lot of economy, and we are starting to fall a little bit behind in terms of economy. Sunken Bell is a nice safety button for this character, so pretty happy with that. We'll take the Broken Mouth as well, and Scope isn't worth locking. It's still 100 for only 2 damage, and we can definitely do better. Don't really want any of these items, though I will take the Cute Monkey. Yes, it reduces my damage, but it's a lot of healing, because we're going to be always on top of whatever enemies we kill, so we're constantly picking up materials, so we get a lot of free healing from the Cute Monkey. So 200 damage a pop, well, 180 damage a pop, but it goes up because we have Wisdom, so every 5 seconds, our damage increases. The one cursed enemy here. Cursed enemies are fairly dangerous for the bull, of course, because they throw off your math for how much damage you can take. It's a very foggy, rainy day. I don't know if you can hear the train whistle and the fog horns in the background. I live near a harbor and train tracks, so but when there's fog, we know about it. I'm going to recycle the pencil here. We have no use for engineering currently, and then we'll take some more percent damage. That's great. I could take move speed, I could take crit chance. I'm just going to grab the move speed. We currently only had 3, so I definitely want to boost that. We can get away with the tractor for sure, and this will make our economy much more stable, so I'm pretty happy with that. Sunken Bell, great panic option for this character. We will probably trigger this explosion pretty frequently, and then we'll buy both of these. Take a treasure map here. All of our damage is elemental damage, so the Ice Cube basically increases our damage significantly for any subsequent explosions that we do. Very good for killing elites and bosses, so we're very happy with the Ice Cube. Eye surgery, we don't care about. We have no way to trigger burning, and it's very expensive for 1 elemental damage. But I'll take the blindfold. Like I said, dodge is still decent for this character, even though we want to take damage. And the crit chance is pretty valuable as well. Cursed Ribcage is a lot of damage that we have to take to kill it. But we can kind of kite it around while we regenerate and then wait for our wisdom to trigger in. And so even if we get another Cursed Ribcage spawning, we should be okay. I'm going to take a lot of hits here just to make sure we're chasing down and killing that loot alien. We got. Back up just a little bit. I actually want... one goal I should have for these runs, or for these waves now, is to try to get to 40% HP in the last, like, 5 seconds of the wave or so, in order to trigger the Sunken Bell on purpose, because it's a big explosion, so it'll kill more enemies than my other explosions would. So let's see if I can take enough damage to trigger it. There we go. Yeah, so you can see I got a lot of extra money because I popped the Sunken Bell right at the end of the wave there. Cyberball is a nice one. This is a lot of extra damage. And Wandering Bot, I'm going to recycle this. I just don't think it's that valuable for us, and 34 materials is pretty nice. I'll take 3 elemental damage here. I think our base damage matters more than our percentage damage right now. We've got a reasonable collection of damage, but it could definitely be higher. And then here, we'll take some more regeneration. I'll take the Lost Duck, Blindfold, and Ice Cube, and then we'll roll here. Another Lost Duck and another Dynamite, and then we'll lock both of these items, and I'll do one more reroll. Losing 2 elemental damage, but gaining 10 speed. I do want the movement speed from the wings, but I think we're going to pass. 190 materials to reduce our damage feels pretty bad to me. This is a horde wave, so of course I will be constantly chased by enemies, but it's still going pretty well. Haven't found any increases to explosion size, which of course would be excellent for this character. That would be one of the best things that we could find. Making sure to stay near full health, because in a horde wave for the bull, we don't have a way to keep enemies away from us, right? So it is fairly easy for us to just get overwhelmed. So I want to make sure that I'm killing stuff faster than it's spawning so that we make the maximum amount of income from this wave, but also that I'm not letting myself get overrun. So there is a bit of a delicate balance to strike with how many enemies I kill this wave. Let's see if we can get the Sunken Bell explosion. Nice. Got it. I think that even killed that tree over there because it's such a big explosion. We'll take the helmet here and Wandering Bot. I'm going to recycle again. I'm going to reroll here. 2 elemental damage I could take, but I feel like we can do better. And yeah, 3 armor is very much better. We'll buy all of these. I'll take another glass cannon. 50% damage is low, so 75% damage. Now our damage is 178 before our wisdom starts kicking in. We have 12% crit chance, so the hunting trophy does work with the bull's explosions, so I think I'm going to take that. The question is, will I make more money from the hunting trophy or the mouse next wave? I can't buy both. I think 10%, we won't make 10% money on the hunting trophy, right? Because we have a 12% crit chance, and then only 1/3 of those will drop materials. So basically, this will increase our income next wave by 4%. The mouse will increase it by 10%, so it's better to pick up the mouse, even at the cost of harvesting. So we're going to lock hunting trophy, and we'll buy the bag, of course. We'll lock penguin as well. I'll do one reroll here, and take the baby elephant. Since I have the hunting trophy locked, we'll lock sunglasses as well, and that can give us a lot of extra income on the horde wave. These tentacles have enough HP that they're surviving my first explosion, but they do take additional damage from the second one because we have the ice cube. I don't know if we're going to have the damage to kill the elite on wave 17, but hopefully we can get to that point. This is another wave where it's a lot of, where it's not that many high health, high damage enemies, so it's a pretty bad wave for the bull. Any chance we can get this loot alien? I can remember, of course, that I have the Sunken Bell, so even if we get relatively low, we can just turn that into money. Oh, any chance we can kill this one? I think I got it right before the end there. Goat Skull will take. It does cost me crit chance, but the damage is really good. We don't need engineering, so we'll recycle that. Take a penguin and a free pearl. Don't mind if I do. That's 6% damage, and more pearls will show up now, which is amazing. Let's reroll here. I'll take 15 luck. It's also worth I guess 3 damage because I have double pearl. Take the hunting trophy, sunglasses. I guess I can buy all of these. Let's reroll. Capping my max HP at 67 is kind of low for the bull, but this is a huge amount of bonus damage, and I think 67 is fine. So I'm going to take the handcuffs here. This is a massive amount of damage for this character because we scale with all 3 of these stats. So now our explosions are doing 358, so that should make us much better at killing the bosses here. This is a wave 14 horde, and wave 14 is where the bull can lose very easily, especially because I have built a lot of items that kill enemies sort of randomly across the map, like the alien eyes and the elephant and cyberball, because on a horde wave on wave 14, that's just a lot of summons. So I need to be very careful with the amount of damage that I'm taking. Try to stack these enemies, and we will try to maintain our HP by not taking damage here. Then we'll stack, go for another run by. Get that tree kill, get that tree kill. You can see I'm taking a lot of hits here. We'll back off, and we'll keep backing off a bit. It can be hard with the bull to avoid lowering your health too dramatically, because you don't have a way to keep enemies away from you. But the Sunken Bell gave us a great panic button there. I have been really impressed with Sunken Bell this run. I will take another alien worm. Yes, consumable healing, still super important, but all the regen is good. We'll take the speed, and we'll take a barnacle as well. Getting additional stats from our level ups is awesome. We'll take a helmet here, and then I think I just want 4 armor. 9 crit chance is also very tempting to go with our hunting trophy, but I think I just need to build survivability, especially because I capped my HP. Normally, of course, I would buy the cake and the alien magic here. Do I want 4.5 regen for alien magic, even though I can't buy health? I don't think so. Wheelbarrow, we're going to pass on this late. Honey, of course, we're grabbing. This is a massive increase to our explosion size and explosion damage. Even 5% is huge for the bull. Tractor will trigger 4 times, so I don't think that's worth it, but I'll take a sunglasses. Landmines we don't need at this point. Bag will pay for itself for sure. Schmoop costs me too much damage, so we're going to pass on that, but we'll buy Cute Monkey and Insanity. Rip and Tear is another excellent one, especially because I did find the honey. We'll buy the metal plate. We don't need padding, of course. And then I'm just going to drink some water and then go to wave 15. Really have been enjoying the Sunken Bell here. If we find any other increased explosion size, it'll be even better, right? Because the 5% isn't that big, though it is very much worth having. But the great thing about explosion size is that because it stacks linearly, but it stacks in an area, the more you have of it, the more it increases the area of your circle. Because, of course, with a circle, the larger the radius of the circle, the more an increase to the radius increases the area of that circle. So, explosion size stacks extremely well with itself. Finding even a little bit increases our effectiveness dramatically already, but will make us even stronger if we get a little bit more. Our alien eyes are now a little bit less useful, because I'm not going to buy more HP, so they're just not going to go up in damage, because we capped our HP. This is HP, or this is damage neutral. It gives us +2 and then -2, so evens out, but the 4% crit chance is still valuable, so I'll take it. And I guess I'll just take 5 elemental damage here. That's a lot of base damage. Take the metal plate. We'll take Rip and Tear for sure. I now need to prioritize melee damage over the other damage types even more than I already did. Black Belt, I might get to level 25 if I take the Black Belt, so I'm going to pick this up just because it also gives me melee damage. Explosive Shells, perfect item for this character, of course. More percent damage will be really nice, but explosion damage and explosion size, I mean, come on, obviously insane for the bull. Let's roll here, and we'll take a Rip and Tear, and we'll take a Helmet. And I could build Peaceful Bee, but I still don't want to decrease my damage. So now you can see our explosions are actually going off everywhere. Making sure to try to kill these buffing aliens as well, where possible, because our whole goal is to not take too much damage at once. We don't mind taking a lot of damage instances, but every time we hit an enemy, we want to kill as many enemies as possible and take as little damage as possible, because we have to hit an enemy every time we kill stuff. Or every time we want to kill stuff. So the buffed enemies really increase the amount of damage that we're taking, and we need to make sure that we're clearing the buffing alien. I need to bear in mind that I carelessly let myself get a little bit too low there and lost my Sunken Bell, so I can't use it as a panic button, and don't need to lower my health before the end of the wave here, although I may want to anyways, just to make sure I'm killing as much stuff as possible. There we go. Bat, of course, doesn't do anything, so we're recycling it. I don't have any dodge right now, but the 2 melee damage is still good, and maybe we get some dodge. And then here, do I want 4 armor or 8 melee damage? I think I just want the damage. I really want to kill the bosses as quickly as I can, because I think we have the damage to try to kill them, so I'm going to focus on doing more damage here. I'll take 12 dodge. That can help keep us killing enemies a little faster with the riposte, and also lets us get into large groups of enemies sooner, keeps us alive more. We'll take Rip and Tear, we'll take Helmet. Lucky Charm, this is worth 6% damage, but a vast decrease to my base damage. I think it's still worth it, though. The luck is really good. And I will buy Toxic Sludge, even though I do want some dodge. Frozen Heart, this does not scale the damage of my bull explosions, I don't believe, but it is just a bunch of stats that we want, so we're going to buy it anyways. Alright, let's see if we can kill this elite. I want to hit it as many times as I can early, because I did hit it with the Ice Cube effect, so we do more damage to it. Ideally, what we want to do is trigger our explosions against the elite from other enemies, so we take less damage. I didn't have that option in the first part of the wave, but now we can just back off. We'll regen to full, and then we'll run towards the elite again, hit it with another couple explosions, and then do the same. Now we should be able to kill it and then heal to full off the box that it drops. So our damage is high enough that we were able to kill it very quickly. Of course, I could have maybe waited a little bit before I started fighting it, so that we had more enemies to trigger our attacks off of, and so that my wisdom had a little more time to tick. Because we have the Ice Cube, the first time I hit it, I'm pretty incentivized to keep hitting it, but maybe I should have delayed that for a couple seconds to give my damage over time stuff a chance to kick in. Alright, well, Kraken's Eye, obviously absurd for this character. The best possible item for Bull, so this will just give us a vast number of increased explosions. We don't mind reducing our health. This is actually just a normal pearl. This isn't a bonus pearl. This one just showed up in a crate, but we'll take more of them, of course. Take 5 melee damage here, and then Cursed Explosive Shells. Unbelievable. This is such a good item for us. So we'll take that. We'll take the Shady Potion. I'll pass on the Frozen Heart for now. Cursed Bowler Hat doesn't really do anything this late, even with the amount of luck we get, so I'm going to roll here. Black Flag also doesn't really do anything this late, because there's just not going to be enough time for it to pay itself off. So you're going to see me pass on Black Flag for like the first time ever. But the explosion damage that we get from, and radius that we get from the second explosive shells, the cursed one, unbelievable. What a good find. This is like all the best bull items possible. It is funny because the Kraken Eye explosion and our Bull explosion are happening separately. You can, if you look closely, you can see them overlaid on top of one another. And they have different ranges. So that's definitely very funny. And then I think the Rip and Tear explosions are also happening separately. So we have at least 2 and maybe 3 explosions most of the time that we get hit. Lots and lots of damage output. This is one of the best bull runs I've ever seen. We've just gotten absurd amounts of really high tier items for the character. Fertilizer we don't need at this point. I'll keep taking the cute monkey. Yes, it reduces my damage, but it's still worth grabbing. I will take the crown, because you can't be the king of Brotato with no crown. And then we'll buy both of these items. The cursed coral I'm going to pass on just because I don't like standing still. Med kit is going to be great, of course. Lots of regen from that. And then I'll take the claw tree as well for more crit damage. And go to the next wave here. What a sick find, all of these explosion items. Double explosive shells. Kraken's Eye. Just the best possible items for this character. Not to mention that we just got a lot of regen early. Like, we were able to find a lot of lucky regen items fairly early. So this character was strong right from the start. And then just continued to power up. Go ahead and kill that loot alien there. One downside of playing on Crash Zone is that you don't get as much money on Wave 19 as you do on Wave 19 Abyssal Terrors, so you don't get a big power spike right before going into the boss fight, or at least not as big a power spike, usually. Now, we still made a lot of money, but that's because this character is just high economy. I'll recycle this, I'll take this, I'll recycle this, and then let's take 10 melee damage. That'll help us kill them a little faster. 8% dodge can let me stand inside the bosses a little more easily. And then, yeah, blood donation is still excellent, of course, at this point, because this can just trigger our explosions all the time, so we don't even have to attack the bosses now. Snowball would have been really nice to find earlier. But as is, I'm just going to roll past all this stuff. We'll take a boiling water for just some more damage. And then let's roll here. And sure, a dynamite is great. Chameleon would have been nice as well, the cursed chameleon. Let's roll here for fun. All of these items would have been pretty awesome as well, but we're just going to go to the next wave, and we'll see how long it takes us to kill the bosses here. So you can see I don't have to touch the bosses in order to trigger my explosions, and we get both the Kraken's Eye and the Bull explosion every time. We got the Sunken Bell explosion there too, and just like one-tapped those bosses, and there we go. It tried to get away, but wasn't fast enough. All right, well, that's the Bull on Crash Zone. This is, of course, one of the characters that I recommend if you are trying to get your first win on Danger 5, because you can just run away from the bosses and just regenerate through most stuff. The defensive stats that it gives you are ridiculous, so the Bull is a pretty nice character for that. Taking a look at our items, the early Scar helped a lot. We hit level 26. The alien eyes were pretty good, though of course we did cap their damage at one point. Baby squid for 15 regen, which was increased to 22.5 regen. Incredible, of course. Ball and chain, amazing for this character. 3 pearls, not bad either. Sunken Bell dealt only 26,000, but gave us a lot of money by clearing enemies we wouldn't have killed otherwise. 700 healing off cute monkeys is incredible. 6 items from Treasure Map. What a good treasure map, too. And 50k from Cyberball, 400 from Bags, 300 from Hunting Trophy, 30k from Baby Elephant, and 50k from Rip and Tear. And then, of course, we had the double explosive shells. So, just an awesome run overall. Everything went right for this build, and we were able to convert it into yet another win for the win streak. Alright, my friends, hope you've enjoyed this run, and of course, as always, if you have, feel free to leave a comment and hit like. Helps me out with the algorithm, so I appreciate you taking the time to do that, and you can subscribe to my channel for more Brotato and other strategy game analysis. Cheers, folks. I'll catch you next time.